That's the sound of the camera then. What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. The last video you guys saw was Patrick's car when I swapped it with a B20. Now the car came back because there was a little bit of a sputtering issue, and then I realized yesterday after diagnosing the car that it actually has a fully built head on it. And after consulting my tuner and Nomis Industries and even my basic knowledge on, you know, trying to figure out what a sputtering issue, what was causing the sputtering issue and all that, it turns out the car is just running really lean. So the car needs a tune, and Patrick just came to pick up his car, and he's going to schedule an appointment with Nomis to get an ECU and also a dyno session with my tuner Jeremy. So Patrick is going to take the car home and take care of all of that, and I think we're probably going to street tune the car, so he's going to be back here later. I've been working on La Panda. You guys have seen La Panda sitting over there sad as hell for a little while now, since pretty much the last time you guys seen the car, and I ended up not selling the car because I found out there were back fees that I did not want to get rid of the car with, so I decided to take care of it myself. Now my buddy Ryan, okay, you guys probably seen him in a couple of my race videos. He had the white Integra, Ronnie has the black Integra, and these brothers are always out there at the track when we're out there, and they're always running the indexes literally to the last cars in his class. But he doesn't have his white Integra anymore, and he acquired this car. It's an EF sedan. You guys know me, I'm a sucker for EF sedan, right? And this car, you got it, and then you drove for a little bit, and then because you parted ways with the white Integra, you put the swap in here, and then it kind of just sat for 2 years. Yeah. The guy is very busy. I mean, his brother's also busy. That's why you guys haven't been able to touch the car, right? Yeah. You guys in the Bay Area, you guys need dog training, man. Plug it in real quick, because I know you've been doing it, man.
Yeah, you know.
What it is?
Yeah, just hit me on my Instagram. TSD Buffalo.
There you go.
Yeah.
He trains canines, bro. I mean, I think you do little chihuahuas and stuff.
Anything.
Any dog. Throw a dog your way. This guy with training. He's got his canine right there, chin on the back, dogging me right now, but he's very well trained and very well behaved. So they've just been very busy with everything going on in life, work, and they haven't really touched the car. Now the car it's almost there. It just needs a lot of buttoning up to do. Yeah. And it's a lot of little stuff. They're still here because I need them to help me push it onto the driveway. So that's what we're gonna do right now, and then, you know what I'm saying, they got to go home because of traffic and obviously because it's still work day for them, and I'm gonna get down to work on this car. So let's get it up on the driveway. Here. All right, guys, so we just finished the wire tuck for the driver's side and the passenger side. Now the driver's side is completely done. I just got to get the socket for the side marker, but it is all zipped out of the way and all loomed up away from the weather. The passenger side over here, I still have to finish the loom because I don't have any more electrical tape, so I need to loom all this up before I can tie it up into the frame rail. So we are done for tonight, guys. We're gonna pick back up tomorrow once I come back from Home Depot for all the tape and everything, and then we're gonna continue on this in the morning. So it's about 5 p.m. the next day. I was driving around all morning. If you guys don't follow me on Instagram, you guys probably don't know this, but driving around all morning, one side of town, other side of town, back to the other side of town. I got La Panda all registered. So I got my tags right here, my insurance right there, and La Panda is pretty much road legal. So now that La Panda is out of the way, I paid all the fees and everything that was hidden. Got back home, started working on the wiring, got the wires all set up for the side markers, got this all lubed up, all zipped out of the way. All right, so the radiator, simple enough. Surprisingly, the Speed Factory tucked radiator fits perfectly in between the rated support for the EF sedan. I hope it's the same for the EF, the CRXs, and the other chassis, but for the most part, it is a perfect fit. What I do notice is that the bottom of the radiator actually does sit on this lower cross member. So what I'm going to do right here is I'm going to put some sticky window foam. This will help protect the radiator from vibration. You can get this from Home Depot. It's under 10 bucks depending on the size. So I'm gonna go ahead and just peel that back. All right, cool. So it's pretty firm on there. It just got 2 bolts, and yeah, that's the radiator. We're gonna be moving into the AM line for the top radiator hose. Safety glasses, don't forget. I honestly don't even know if I have a wrench this damn big. This is on some Dominic Toretto shit. All right, well, I'm gonna have to work some magic with this because this is probably the biggest AN line I've ever worked with. Get it? So right here, I took off about, I don't know, 5 inches of the lower hose to tuck it in a little bit more. So we have the bottom hose secured, got the top hose secured, and radiator's pretty much almost ready to rock and roll. Right now, I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the fans. I don't have a relay, but this car does not have a relay either. And the KRX, I took it to Sonoma. I raced it on the track 4 sessions out of 5 before I rod knocked it, but that had nothing to do with the cooling system. With the fan off on the track, it was doing 165 degrees. Now I did that on the Honda app, and I also did check the external gauge for the temperature. So it was running at about 165 degrees with the fan off. With the fan on, it was running about 130. So I know wiring it directly to the factory wiring here works perfectly fine. Now, like I said, if you want to do it the right way, put it on the relay. So all I'm going to do, positive to positive, negative to negative, and obviously do the same over here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to find a plug to make this all plug and play. So I have the wiring for the fan all bridged together. It's a harness that I made that plugs it to this right here, and that's out of the way. So I want to move on to the header. The header, he said it doesn't have a gasket in it, and it has to come back out to put a gasket on. And I'm kind of concerned because there's still a little gap there. Can't really move it, and it is hitting the frame rail right there. Ryan is running a DTR header, Danny Tran Racing. If y'all don't know DTR, y'all sleeping. He makes one of the baddest headers out there. And if you guys are looking for some all motor stuff, this is the guy to go to. I did clearance the frame rail a little bit so the header goes flush without forcing it. All right, guys, so we got the DTR header installed. We got all of the hardware installed. We got the dipstick back in place. We got clearance down there. We got a exhaust manifold gasket installed, and there's nothing I can do as far as the back half of the exhaust goes. It's got the stock exhaust piping on it, and the DTR header has a 2.5-inch V-band. So like I said, not really much I can do there. Ryan said he's going to get a pre-bend exhaust piping kit, probably like Speed Factory or True Bends or K-Teller. They're all the same stuff, but he may come back here later for that if he can't find anybody out that way to do it for him. So what I'm going to move on to right now is the T bracket. The reason why it's called a T is because it is shaped like a T with the center support that goes down there. Now we have to modify it, obviously, because the Speed Factory tuck radiator is in the way. So I'm gonna grab that, and this one's gonna hurt only because J fronts are really hard to find. If you guys don't know EF sedans and you guys haven't caught this by now, this car has a JDM front end on it, and I'm very jelly about it. But we have the T bracket here, and like I said, I'm kind of sad that we're gonna have to modify this. Hold on a second, that's one of it. Wow, I had no idea that this separated. But anyways, so this piece right here goes like this. This is the first time I've seen the J front like in person. So yeah, that goes on like that, right? Screw, 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 da 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 da. This goes here, and obviously you see where it's not gonna work, right? So I don't want to cut this, I really don't, but we're gonna have to do what we have to do. The reason for having the support here is so that this doesn't go caving in, bowing down, you know what I mean? But even then, this is pretty damn strong already, because it is bent at a 90, so it's got like a little structural integrity. But we're gonna have to do what we have to do. Let's measure. I'm so sad I had to do this, but we had to get it done. So the only thing we lost here is this little bracket, which it was much bigger right there, but I had to cut it off because it was obviously hitting the radiator. That little bracket right there allows the filler, where is it at? The filler piece between the headlight and the bumper to secure in the middle. So if you look, it is supposed to be for this. And now that I'm thinking about it, I think we're gonna have to modify this as well too. But regardless, we still have this one here, this one there, and the two on the ends here and there. So this is gonna have plenty of bolts to be stabilized. It sucks that we had to modify the J front for the Speed Factory radiator, but then again, that looks pretty damn sick too. There is a 1/4-inch gap between the latch and the radiator, so I put a pretty thick size foam in it to kind of help cushion the gap for every time you close the hood, it doesn't, you know, bow down and scratch up the radiator. But this bar is so freaking stiff that it actually doesn't even move. I mean, unless you're slamming the hell out of the hood, which you kind of don't want to do because this is JDM hood, but the hood actually closes really nice. So I'm gonna use my head here and I'm gonna show you guys. Look at this, latched, perfect. I'm gonna go ahead and unlatch that. Comes up by itself. A little lever on the bottom here, and the hood closes perfectly. So I have the fuel filter on a little bracket I made. Took one of the rubber off to make this nice and firm, because with the rubber on it, it was still kind of dangling all over the place. So filter is low enough that we can run a 3-inch intake into this general area, and we have the push lock line onto the push lock fitting. Now this is going to have to change. For this being a high pressured line, especially when he's going to change the pump to something bigger, definitely do not want this fuel line popping off. Now it will work because I've ran this in my all-wheel drive car and the H2B car, well, that car for years, and I've never had an issue. But just for precautionary reasons, Ryan be sure to change your fuel setup later. Weather has been kind of weird as of late. It was super hot last week and it is super cloudy this week. So shift linkage, house sport unit, gold, and this is for B series swapped EF. We are running a GSR shifter, although it needs a little bit of modification. Ooh, that feels so good. So I just got off the phone with Rodney and I kind of ran him through the dilemma that I'm dealing with. So the car needs an alternator, right? I mentioned that before. And I decided that I'm gonna throw my alternator in it just because we're here already. Let's just do it, right? But the alternator normally hits the frame rail when you put a B series in an EF, and this is not modified. So the other way to get away with fitting a B series alternator is to run a much shorter alternator belt to bring the alternator forward where the pulley is not going to touch the frame rail. Now typically if you want to use a B series alternator belt, you have to hit the frame rail in a little bit right here, typically under this square right here. Right underneath that is where the pulley sits. So I was like, you know what, I can go about this either or ways. I talked to Rodney talked to Ryan. I gotta do what I gotta do, so I'm gonna have to do what I have to do. Now we can't get the traction bar in because this header sits in line where the radius rod would be going to the LCA. So the order operation here is to put the traction bar on, figure that out, then we can put the alternator in, then we can put the axles on. So right now I'm gonna do a bunch of other little things first, like ground cable over there, vacuum hoses here and there. As far as the engine bay goes, it's almost there. The DTR header is really nicely designed, great and proven to make power, but these are typically fitted for the other chassis without mods. Where the EF, we have this front traction bar that our front suspension is dependent on, and we must run it. So the thing about the header is, because it is a side winder and then it goes back underneath the oil pan, this gets in the way of the radius rod. The radius rod, this right here, goes from the LCA back here. Actually, let me bolt that up. So this goes on the LCA, right? And then the front half goes to the traction bar. Except we are at about I'll probably say 1.5 inches off right here from bolting up. So the solution would be to run the innovative traction bar, because it uses the stock crossmember bolt holes, which is right here, 217 mil. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it goes right here. And the reason for that traction bar to better fit the situation is because you can space it down. You can put spacers in there, bring the traction bar down, which then lowers the mounting point for the radius rod lower, so we can clear header like these. But we're running the K-Tune one here, which doesn't really have adjustability as far as the tow hook location goes. So right now I'm trying to figure out a solution to lower the traction bar or the tab down so we can mount the radius rod. So came up with a quick little solution for the radius rod. Kind of cat it up a little bit and spent some time to cut it out of metal and then weld it onto the bar. Check it out. So I added this bracket right here underneath the existing bracket that comes on the bar from factory, right? Like this side. So I made a tab on both ends and then I boxed it up right there, tigged it all up, and it is ready for some paint. Now this right here drops the radius rod about 1.5 inches to clear the header. Now I have a good clearance between the header by like 1/2 inch, and the wheel is already preloaded, so when the wheel goes down it should open up the gap a little bit more. Now I only did it on one side because the other side obviously clears, but I don't think this should mess with the car getting into the alignment. As long as the caster is the same on both sides, I don't think one being higher than the other is going to change anything dramatically. All right guys, so I have the traction bar installed, got all the hardware secured there, got this one secured here, got the bracket that comes with the kit installed as well on both sides, all done. I mentioned earlier that you can do the alternator from right here with the master out of the way. I remember doing it on a single cam and it works fine, but I've never tried it on a B series. And after just eyeballing it real quick, it looked like the alternator can come down this way. So I took off the bracket for the alternator right here, and I think the alternator actually goes down through here perfectly fine. Huh. All right, well, I'm gonna do the half shaft and axles real quick, and then we'll get to trying to fit up this alternator. So we have axle, half shaft installed. We got the axle nut installed, alternator, bracket, and I just so happen to have a belt lying around. Now this was a 4 rib which shredded into a 3 rib, and the part number on this is 3K300, otherwise 7609R3FT. I don't know if you guys can see it, but we have clearance between the pulley and the frame rail, and the belt is tensioned enough. Not loose, not super tight. Looks like the alternator is going to work with this setup. So alternator plugged in. I don't know if this harness has a alternator wire integrated into it. Simplest way to know is to look at the harness itself, because if it is, there should be a power cable that goes to the fuse box, and by the looks of it, there is not one. All right guys, so the battery box, it seems to be pretty straightforward. It is 3-piece. It has a bottom plate which looks like the top lid, and then we have the body that sits on that, and then the lid comes on top. The rods is what secures all 3 pieces together. So this is the instruction that comes with the package. I can read, but I have reading comprehension problems, but lucky for me, they do have a picture in the back. So with the picture, this is definitely going to help me secure this box down. So I'm just going to get right to it, guys. Really just trying to knock it out because the sun is kind of burning today. Got the power cable ran through the interior. I literally took off the whole entire back seat, carpet, and snaked pretty much the power wire all the way through the front over here. So We have a lot of excess, which is good because I'm going to use this extra power cable to run the ground. The ground that's provided with the kit is really short. I mean, not really short if you're making a new hole to mount it into the frame. But typically I run the ground cable to the spare tire compartment. There's a little 12 mil that goes right there, and I secure it there. So with the extra power wire, I can run a new cable all the way over there and just putting a new terminal end on it. Wiring for the battery is all done. We got the starter power cable right here, goes to the center with the rest of the harness, and that goes into the car, which then goes to the distribution block right here. And then also from the distribution block, we have the cable for the fuse box, so the fuse box can get power, which goes right here. You can see it. And then the other end of the distribution block goes to the power cable, which goes to the back of the car. And that sits right here with enough slack for, in case you run like a 51 or 51R battery, the post terminals on opposite ends. Ground cable using the excess power is right here with a terminal connected to it, which then goes underneath the spare tire compartment, goes to the frame rail. And then also I added another cable to go over here. Originally I was going to use that, but he has a spare tire here, so I don't want to alter that. But it is bolted here, bridged off, bolted there, grounded out. Hopefully that's a good connection for the negative of the battery, and that's pretty much it. Now, I don't have a long enough cable or the right size for the alternator, so I'm going to tell him to just order the alternator cable kit. I'm not mounting the ECU because I don't know where he wants this to sit, and especially because you have to drill into the chassis, and I don't want to do that, you know, obviously not knowing where he wants to put it. So this came out of an EG. He got the correct sub harness, which is this right here. A lot of these B, D, F series like harnesses are universal. You just got to have the correct jumper harness. So this is all plugged up. The other one is plugged on the other side, and I believe Lester integrated the cop kit into the harness, which is right here. So this should literally be all plug and play. So Honda cop, Nomis Industries better, I'm just saying. This is plug A, this is plug middle, and this one right here is plug outside. So this ECU is tuned with the engine in the EG, and it's already pre-programmed everything for the setup, so we don't have to get into the computer for that. I am going to be running the power off the Panda, and where's my jumper cables? This is always the nervous part. Now, mind you guys, this car sat for 2 years, and we got no power because the breaker's not on. Oh boy. That is the seatbelt buzzer, which is actually not hooked up. Oh, this is a real bucket seat. Oh my God. Wow. What seats are these? They really hug you in. There is engine oil. I checked. Uh-oh. Well, that kind of killed the car in the back. All right, take two. Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna take the battery out of the Panda because it is a charged battery. I don't know why, just make things more complicated. Hopefully this car cranks over. Round 3. There you go. Car's alive. The fact that it just idled, that's awesome. Doesn't seem like it has a hiccup. We're good. So I think now let's put the front end on. Guys, we can finally say we are done with Ryan's EF sedan. The J front on here looks freaking amazing, and I'm jelly, man. I really am. If I had the money and Ryan's willing to sell, I'd so cop this car. I spent a little bit of time to adjust the caster because we did fully assemble the traction bar from scratch, and this one was so much more forward than the other side, but we got it somewhat the same. Now Nilo's going to do the alignment, I'm sure, and he's going to get it all adjusted accordingly, but the caster looks even on both sides. So I did clean the interior a little bit. I took a lot of the stuff that aren't going to be used anymore and just kind of threw them in the trunk, and pretty much all of my tools and everything's cleaned up out of here. I still got to take out my battery. I am super stoked that Ryan and Rodney trust me to work on this car. It's been 2 years since it ran. Actually, it's been 2 years since I've seen it. It didn't even occur to me until he mentioned it, but I'm glad to see this car running again, and I'm hoping that we are going to see this car out and about, because a car like this, you really have to enjoy it. We've done a lot to this car in the last 3 days, although the car did come with an engine already. There was just a lot of stuff that was taken apart that was not finished, so it came here to get worked on, to get finished up, to get turned on, even though Ryan said don't worry about turning it on. But you know, if you have everything, you might as well try it, right? You guys heard it. Car sounds freaking awesome. I'm hoping to see this car out and about soon. I didn't realize the car sat for 2 freaking years, but I'm glad that it's not sitting anymore. There is one more thing that I have to do, which is to build an intake, but I'm not doing it in today's video because I don't have any material. I gotta go get some and just build a very simple setup to put a V-stack behind the headlight, because when they go to the track, they always remove the headlight anyways, and they could just add an extension to put a V-stack out the headlight. So I'm gonna do that probably tomorrow. I'm kind of motivated much more now that we finished Ryan's car, this EF sedan. If you guys haven't seen the earlier video before this year started, I mentioned that I want to get EF sedan and build a track car, and the time is just not right now because I have too many other damn things going on, right? So once the fleet kind of shrinks down, I am looking for an EF sedan. I am trying to build another one to kind of resurrect my old one. And if you guys don't know, if you guys are new on board, I've been an EF sedan guy since day one. My first car was an EF sedan. I had it for about 10 years and I got rid of it. I am going to wrap up this video. Sorry if it seemed like this was all over the place. Sorry it seems like we're just kind of adding so much days into one, but it all pertains to the same thing. It's to resurrect the EF sedan, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know Ryan is, because I FaceTimed him for the first start and he's super stoked. I am as well. I hope you guys are too. So if you guys enjoyed today's video, be sure to leave this video a thumbs up. And if you guys want to stick around to see the shenanigans to come, because I got some packages coming for that car, the red car, be sure to hit the subscribe button. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.